So Lindsay, Andrea, thank you guys for being here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Our legal experts, the Haber sisters of Haber Legal.
That's right.
Yes.
Right? That's like a fun way of saying
Yeah.
this. So let's start with some introductions because people are like, who are those two people Lauren's talking to? So Lindsay, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Where are you from? How many kids do you have? You know, the whole like background elevator pitch on yourself.
You got it. So we both are from Coral Springs, kind of on the outskirts of Parkland area. We both grew up here. We are South Florida natives. Both graduates, because again, we're both together, both graduates of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. I went to UF for undergrad, Nova for law school. I am married to a very handsome and very funny guy named Jason Krishka, and we have 2 kids. I have a daughter who is 5.5, and I have a son who is 2.5, and they are very different kids. Very different kids.
Fun ages.
Oh yeah, the thick of it.
I am Andrea Haber, also obviously from Coral Springs, Florida. Went to Douglas, went to University of Florida, went to University of Miami for law school. I met my husband in college at the University of Florida.
Go Gators.
Go Gators. And we actually both went to law school together at the University of Miami. It's how we chose it because we both got in there. Got married in 2013. We have 3 children, ages, oh my
It's
God,
a trick question.
8, 6, and 2.
You have 3, so you kind of forget about them now.
I do, and I confuse the birthdays, I confuse the names.
I think that's like par for the course.
Yes.
I'm sure your parents, like to this day, still confuse both of you with your, you know, like they scream one, but they mean the other.
Yes.
We also
And
sound the same.
Yeah, our voices sound the same. So we used to play tricks on them growing up, and like we'd be like, "Who's on the phone?"
You don't know which one we are. Yeah, it happens a lot.
My
Even
sister
with
and
the
I get
clients
that
now.
too.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, we like sound the same.
Yeah.
We unlock Siri. Can you unlock Siri on your sister's phone?
Oh, I've never tried
Yeah.
that.
We didn't try it. It just happened.
It just happened. I'd be like, "Hey Siri," and then it would pick up on her phone.
Even though we both have our own offices, I know we'll get into it a little bit, but we like to work in the same room together, and we'll ask the phone, and then the other ones will unlock and start to do something, which is totally creepy because it should not be able to do that.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, people used to call us and they'd be like, "Hello," and I'm like, "Hi." They're like, "Kara?" I'm like, "No, it's Lauren." They're like, "You sound the same."
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry. So I have like a really pressing question. How on earth do you work together? Because if my sister and I tried to work together, we would no longer be sisters. Like, I think we'd pull each other's hair out.
Well, Lindsay's obsessed with me, so
That's accurate. That's definitely
sweet.
true. Because it sounds so silly, but we really are sisters and best friends, which is we're lucky to be. If you had asked us like 20 years ago if we would ever be working together, we would think you were like
Crazy.
insane. Even 5 years ago, we would have told you that you were crazy. It's just kind of a crazy whirlwind that this ended up happening in the first place.
but not like the craziness. It's not in the sense of like on a personal level. It's on a professional level because we were doing different areas of law.
Right.
So, and we also just had different ideas of how our careers would go.
Yeah.
Like she was becoming partner at her law firm, and I had no interest in that. I just wanted to like work and raise my kids and see, what happened with my career,
I was
where it
corporate
fell,
world.
but she was like
Right.
really climbing a ladder.
Right.
So
I worked at like one of
yeah.
the big firms in Miami, which is a fantastic firm, and I was there for 12 or 13 years. Was a partner in their family law division, and like that is night and day from the world that she was in. And I focused mainly in family law while I was there, which I am like forever grateful for. It really taught me a lot. I got to work under 3 different attorneys that were there, and I got to take like their good stuff,
Yeah.
and the stuff that I didn't like as much, I got to leave behind. And then after like 13 years or so, you hit like a ceiling of how far you can go at a firm. And I left on the most fantastic terms you could ever leave on. And I also had my own work at that point. I had my own clients. I had my own style of what I wanted to do. I mean, I talked to them all the time.
Right.
They refer me cases. But then I finally got to step onto the other side of doing law, which was more the way that Andrea had been practicing.
Well, and I think that was because you got married and you were starting to have a family, and like your work life kind of changes a little bit, and when you have your family, especially like you were ready to get out of Miami and go to Boca because I was in Boca, and yeah, so I think
But
that
it was also
like
COVID. Like
that was part of it too.
my first kid was born May of 2020.
Oh,
so
that's like
I
the
didn't even
thick
get
of
the
it.
worlds between like working like massive corporate law, having a kid, seeing what that would have been like, because I stayed at that firm, went into lockdown for what, like almost 2 years working
Yeah.
from the house with a baby. Like to come out on the other side was just so different.
And we're just very like we practice differently, and
Yeah.
but we bring different things to the table. Like I'm much more cut and dry, like very more black and white, and that's hard to do in family law because there's a lot of gray.
Oh, I'm sure. A lot of feelings.
Yes, a lot of feelings. And so I had sworn my whole career that I would never do family law.
What law were you doing before?
So I started. I started in a small firm in Miami doing. I was kind of a jack of all trades. It was very focused on real estate closings, but also real estate litigation, landlord tenant stuff. I had a client that had a lot of properties, and so there was a lot of evictions and just and contract disputes and a lot of litigation. I was in court a lot, especially in like 2012 when there was all the foreclosures. I did a lot of foreclosure defense, and that was, you know, just a lot of courts and arguing and whatever. So I became very kind of like, I don't want to say hardened from it, but I was
you
more
know how to work a courtroom.
I know how to work a courtroom. I was more cut and dry and more, and Lindsay's more empathetic because she's been in family law her whole career.
Right.
And
I'm
I
empathetic
also
as
like
a human being too.
Yeah,
Like,
I was going to
we're-
say
come
that.
on.
I'm also just not. I just wasn't born with as much
particular part of the gene.
empathy as her. But so it's a good mix because sometimes I'll look at her and be like, "You need to be more aggressive here. Like they're gonna walk all over you."
But we
And she'd
didn't
be
know
like,
that.
Okay.
Like, coming together, we did not know that we had that yin and yang.
Right.
Okay, that was not clear whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
It was more that. So okay, backwards again. She's doing like the real estate piece of it. Where did you go from there? Because then you're going to see all these different pieces she had.
Then I started doing estate planning and probate. I did that pretty much my whole, like the last 13, 14 years. But then I started venturing out. I did debt collection for a while. I was working for a debt collection firm, so I was in court all the time doing mediations. Debt collection is like credit card debt, like that. And then from there, I think I went back to doing civil litigation
for a little bit, and then into
and then I did insurance defense,
Wow,
which
you've
is
done
also
like really everything.
everything.
Because
Everything. Which is also why I was excited to kind of go work with Lindsay, because I was like, okay, it's time to like really pick a lane,
Right.
and hone in on that, and you know.
But there's a
build
really
a
good
career on
reason
that.
why she went from like these things to this thing. Because somebody else might look at it and be like, "Oh, she jumped around from career to
Right.
career." No, she.
No,
picked
I was with my
jobs.
first firm. I was with for over 7 years, and
But
then,
after that, it was really as a parent.
Yes.
She picked jobs in particular
Yes, that were
allowed
flexible.
her to work from home
yes,
and allowed her to work the hours that she wanted. And she has always picked her kids up from school.
yes,
That's
Like
amazing.
that's
Yeah.
her thing, right?
That was
Like
my
don't
thing.
take that from her. And
I'm going to pick them up from school no matter what. Even now, I do. When
Yeah.
I came to work for Lindsay, with Lindsay, I made it very clear I'm not changing that
Right.
dynamic. I will be picking my kids up from school every day. They're in aftercare, so I pick them up at 4.
Yeah.
But
Same.
that
Yeah.
was
Aftercare's
like
the best.
Aftercare's the best.
we could discuss an aftercare
yeah.
story. So like write that one down and come back to kids
I'm
and
going to write it down.
aftercare. All right?
I'm writing it down.
Yes. So yeah, it was. She said, "Okay, whatever, as long as you're doing your work." And
Yeah.
I think
That's
that,
wonderful.
But I was always jealous of that, right? Because it's a very different dynamic from corporate law and
Yeah.
the world that I was living versus what she was doing.
You can't turn your brain off as fast as I can and jump into being a mom, because that's you didn't.
Yeah, it's
I've
true.
also been doing it a little bit longer than you, but
Fair.
I can just turn it off
Yeah.
and go right to momming.
What made you want to start your own firm and practice together?
Oh my God. Okay, so
Was it just the flexibility, or
no, not even. And when it started, it was me by myself for the first year before she was like fully in it, and she wasn't even in it the first day. So, you know, kind of things just like line up and happen in life. And there was this moment that either I was going to stay in corporate law or I was going to take the move. And I had already had 20 clients of my own. So it was that moment of like, which one am I going to pick?
Right.
And so with enough like courage from some of my other female lawyers, there's a fantastic family law crew of women in South Florida that are not aggressive. We all really care about each other and we work together and collaborate in cases, which is fantastic. So they're like, go. And that was it. And I literally jumped and I've been running ever since.
That's amazing.
And that,
She did so well that first year. So well. But I was like worried for her because she was working so hard and she just had a baby.
yeah.
And
The second,
I
when Ethan
literally
was born, he was
told
5
her,
weeks
I'm
old.
like, you're going to die at your desk. Like, you need to have an associate. You need
You need
you
me,
need help.
your sister.
So it was like it felt like I was a speed train at all time. And like, can you imagine? There was no like postpartum because Ethan, my younger, was 5.5 weeks old. So I just went straight into doing it. So I don't know if I had postpartum or not because I was running like the entire time. And then Andrea would be like, give me something, right? Like,
Right.
see, give me one case to help with, or
And I
one
remember
of
you
this.
were like, family law is so specific. And I was like, I know, but I've done like 12 different areas of law
Right.
and I'm pretty good at picking things up. So
But
give me
remember, she
something.
swore it off. She's like, I'm not dealing with people.
Oh
in
yeah,
their
I said as
lives.
long as I don't have to talk
Right,
to
I'm
the
not talking to your
clients, which
clients.
that's changed
Right.
so much. But at the beginning, I was like, I don't want to talk to the clients.
Yep.
I'm not good at that. I don't
Right.
have that bone in my body. And then she was like, okay, just I'll draft things. So I draft things,
And that lasted for about 6 months.
and,
And then she looked at me one day and she was like, I'm going to come in full time. Tell me now if it's okay. I think you really need it. I am going to quit my job. And we're having this serious conversation right now. Okay. And we're either in or we're out. And I was like, okay, we're in. And so I'm not even kidding. The firm started as law offices of Lindsay Haber, PA. Andrea comes in and she goes, maybe it had been 2 weeks that she's like full time in. And she goes, every single person that I talk to on the phone thinks I'm Lindsay, right? The firm's law office is
on
Lindsay
the phone,
Haber.
in
Right.
person, they just assumed I was Lindsay
She's
Haber.
like, this isn't going to work. So here's the name I'm proposing. We're going to switch to Haber Legal. I'd like us to rebrand our website. And while we're doing it, I think that we should bring in estate planning and probate now because your clients don't have any of these other things that they need, right?
And it's all sort of related-ish.
It is. And she's the one who was like, listen, there's this full circle that will continue to happen whether you start in order from prenup before you get married, right, to needing that estate plan now that you're married, especially once you have your kids,
Right.
to getting divorced or having a paternity matter, to then needing a new estate planning, to then probate administration.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, this is what she thinks. She's changing her course in her career. Let's do this. So I want to say she started in July of whatever, maybe it was, doesn't matter what year it was. But more importantly, she's like,
This is what we're
by
doing.
January of the following year, right, 6 months later, firm name had changed, logos had changed, and what we did as a law firm had changed. And I'm not kidding you, to turn around, it's been a year now that we've been doing the adding in the estate planning and the probate, and like, wow. I cannot explain to you what yin and yang we really are and what she has taught me as a lawyer. Like, we take off the sister hat, we really do. And when we walk into the office and like, I could tell you stories of like trial and how she's changed me and what she's did for her trial that like we won had we not done these specific things that my brain had never thought about because I settle cases. Like we go to trial maybe 4 times a year, maybe. Like, you hire us because you don't want to be in a courtroom.
Right.
That is who we are. But if we have to be there, we have the litigator. And it's just like the things that I have seen from her as a lawyer, not that I underestimated them.
I told you she was obsessed with me.
I know. And it's not that I underestimated her, okay? She just never showed those things. Like, she downplayed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I have like a real
so amazing.
asset here. What a win for me
You're
that we
welcome.
are now partners, best friends, lawyers. The
Can I have a
cheesiest
raise?
too. Yeah. Okay, fine. Yes. We can both have a raise.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
She can have a raise. I'm going to send this back to you both
Right.
so she remembers. I love that you started the firm when you were 5 weeks postpartum with your second. When I was like 2 weeks postpartum with mine, I started baking bread. So like, I feel like there's something different around like second time motherhood, because the first time you're like lost and you have no idea what's happening.
100%.
But like bringing the second one home, it's so much easier. So it's like, I'm just going to pick a hobby and find a new thing. And you know, all I did was make bread, but like you started a whole firm.
I
It's
also
pretty cool.
have a village, right, that I would like to thank, which is my nanny, Barbara, who is more like my best friend, confidant, everything, who my children would not be who they are without her. So I didn't know how much like maternity leave I was going to give myself
Right.
or not. Well, it didn't really matter because I decided to open the firm, and Barbara would be there with like pizza. Right, give me Ethan. Here's a slice of pizza. Give
That's
me Ethan.
wonderful.
Here's like a bagel, and it like we all kept moving and doing this together. And of course, Andrea, my in-laws, everyone. So
But I do think work like helps with for me at least with
agree.
postpartum. Like my oldest child, I had horrible postpartum depression. I mean, it was literally by the book. And then with my second, I kind of knew the signs of it. I knew it was coming. Definitely still had it, but it was a lot less. With my third, which was a bit of years later, I was like, I got this. Like,
Yeah.
I know. And I went back to work. Granted, I was working remotely at the time, but I went back to work after 4 weeks, which some might think is crazy. But
you're in your house, though. You need your
I was
brain.
working remotely, but man, that really helped keep me out of the depression because I knew that it was going to happen. I was like, nope, not this time.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to just like put your mind on something else.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you love your children any less, because
No.
you need to be able to fill your own cup
Yeah.
in order to like be a
Yeah.
great parent for them.
The mom guilt really lessens with each kid. I'll tell you
I
that.
fully
It's
fully
like
agree.
I said with my first kid, bedtime routine was 45 minutes, a book, a story, the whole thing.
Oh, right.
Second kid,
Throw them in there, lock the room.
I would be like, by the time you have your third kid, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it. I don't do it with any of them. I'm like, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Bye.
You're out.
You're
Close
out.
your doors.
I'm good.
Stay
My
in
time
there.
now.
I also think that's a working parent.
Stay in your
who's like,
room.
I parented, worked, parented. Like, I need 5 minutes. Now it's time.
Right.
You gotta go.
I mean,
Yeah.
you need to like pour into you
Yes.
in order to like,
I need to
Yeah.
watch 30 minutes of TV.
right. Like
Before I
we
go to
need,
sleep.
I watch in 5-minute increments.
I fully, sometimes I have to do that too. Sometimes I watch like something in like in between a show here. I'm like, I gotta
Oh,
catch up
yeah.
on something just
Yeah.
for like a quick second.
Yep.
I want to talk about the importance now of some of the things that you guys do. Family planning, estate plans. These aren't like fun topics to have when it comes to getting married, having kids, divorce happens. Like, so let's start from, in terms of timeline, a prenup.
Okay.
That's like not a fun thing to think about when you're trying to plan a wedding. It's like, oh, I love you.
Right.
But also, just in case one day we don't love each other, let's sign a document. That doesn't sound like cute.
No.
So how do you like, how do you approach that with couples? And how does a couple like start that conversation? Like maybe one of them's thinking about like, maybe we need a prenup for our, you know, our marriage. How does that,
Okay.
how do you get through all that like yuck?
So I'd say the first thing is no prenup, no situation, no couple is the same. So my approach is different for every single person who walks in the door. Okay, so I'm going to give you like 3 different families for a second. Option, family one, which is like really the best prenup to do, is let's just say like a couple who's the same age. They both have the same idea of what they want to do, and they already have a financial idea of where their marriage is going. I did one once for 2 young lawyers. One already had their own firm. One was already making a fantastic salary. They had already lived together, bought a place, had bank accounts, everything. They did not want any issues in the future if they both had their own law firms. They agreed, we're going to keep everything in life separate, but they already knew what they were combining.
Right.
Right? So it wasn't a dirty word to them. They were all in and they already had stuff.
Right.
So there was no fear with them, right? So that's one way of doing it. But that's also for somebody else, that same one, like you keep yours, I keep mine.
Yeah.
Really scary. So the stereotypical mom or wife, they're getting married and they already know she's going to stay home and raise kids and he's going to work, agreeing yours is yours and mine is mine when she has no income is like the scariest agreement you could put in front of anyone. And those ones also scare me. I mean, that's the, I mean, I tell people right out, those scare me too. Why do they scare me? I potentially have a woman, whether I represent her or not, who could end up like on the street with nothing after having children. So what do you do for them? You kind of got to guide them and give them some ideas. And I say the same thing, whether I'm representing the man or the woman in that scenario, to say like, okay, husband, can you imagine if 10 years from now she hasn't worked and she's raised 2 or 3 of your kids? do you think that she's going to want to waive alimony right now? Like, are we setting up money for her? So like, those are stuff that I make sure that I talk about with the clients. I test out what their feeling is as a couple to see if they can sit down and have that conversation. But it's not a one size fits all, because you might have the dynamic where one of them has so much money, whether they're in their 20s, 30s, 60s, or 70s, first, second, third marriage, and they already know what they want, but the other person has never had money and not in a good financial situation. So it really depends, is really the answer. Every single one of those really depends. And I'm always honest. Like, I've let go clients. I've represented women who I told them, if you're going to do this deal, I'm not going to represent you.
That's important. I mean, they want honesty.
Yep.
And I feel like maybe people think, like, for the third example you gave, that like a prenup is only for one person coming into the marriage with like ridiculous amounts of money, and the other person's like bare bones and has nothing.
Right.
But it's not. Like, do you think everyone should get them, or should everyone consider them?
Okay, that's a really good question. Do I think that everyone needs one? Maybe not everyone, but I do think that the majority of people really should consider if they need it or not. Why do I say if or not? Depends on your financial situation. Like, if you guys are in a business together, maybe you guys don't need it the same way as somebody else, because no, it is not you keep yours, I keep mine. It could be one that's just protecting a family trust. And that's it. And you're all keeping all the income and everything marital. Literally, that's the only carve out of the entire agreement. All right. Or somebody who works in a particular industry that they're afraid that their spouse might be able to try to take shares from a company. So they're only going to take out that piece. So it really depends on what their situation is. And no, not all of them have to say, like, you're walking away with nothing. I've done ones where people walk away with houses and cars and so much money, or alimony's on the table, or, you know, you take this home. They can be like, I know it sounds really simple, they could be a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
They really can be. It just depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think it tells you a lot about the people who are getting married.
It does, and I think it will certainly save you legal fees when you do, if you do and have to go through a divorce. That document, if done correctly and done well, really can help both sides. You know what you're getting into.
Right. I'm sure it saves time. Like,
it saves
if
time.
it
It
happens.
saves money.
And you can even write into them to say, like, and this person gets X amount for attorney's fees immediately, right? So that they know from the beginning that this is not going to be a situation where if I'm not the one who has the most money in an account right now, I can't get a lawyer. So I think about every little detail that I can think about to propose to be in there. Whether the other side accepts it or not is a totally different thing, but it really can help you. The one caveat I want to say is that prenups cannot cover child support. Okay, the court-ordered piece of it, of how much you have based on your time sharing. It can't include time sharing, like who's going to get to have time with kids. These are future aspects that you don't know about how you each are going to be. And I don't mean like, are you going to be a good parent or bad? Like, what happens if something happens to one of you?
Right.
Right?
And
so
the law also looks at it as what's in the best interest of the child.
Right.
at that time.
And and so a lot of people don't have children yet, but there's the prenups do not include anything that is in the best interests of the child.
But it can include private schools,
Right.
cars for kids, college, anything else that you want. Just not that child support component that's your monthly award that may or may not go back and forth.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so
yes,
that can
it really
be
can.
it can be helpful.
Yeah.
But it's like,
It also
It's
really
not fun
opens
to
up.
do.
No, but it opens up the conversation that a lot of divorces happen because of like financial.
Right.
They didn't have the same idea of how they wanted to
Right.
live their life. They didn't have the same idea of how they wanted to spend their money. And if you talk about it now and you're both on the same page and you know what each other wants, that is a major issue that you won't have in the future because you didn't go in blind. You now know, all right, this is your goal in life. This is my goal in life. This is going to be our goal in life.
Yeah.
And, if in the future that's no longer our goals and we're not supposed to be together anymore, then at least we knew.
I mean,
now.
you can even do a prenup and sunset it, meaning that it no longer applies. Like, you could do a prenup and have it in place for 10 years. And as
Okay.
long as we make it past 10 years, this entire agreement sunsets. There's just
You got to
so
fake the
many-
marriage for 10 years and
Right.
then you go after
and
them.
you're fantastic, right? I mean, come on. That's
what I would say.
That's why. And then the other spouse is like, it's 9 years and 11 months and 2 days. I'm filing.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's important. I understand that it's like, it can protect both sides. It doesn't
Yes.
have to be this like yucky, gross thing, but it's
Yes.
definitely like maybe a hard combo to
it
have.
is, but it opens better conversations
Right.
to have.
You know
So-
what's not the good conversation, though, is when one of them says to the other, 3 weeks before the wedding, I've decided I want to get a prenup, right?
we
That's
don't
not
do
a good
that.
conversation.
No, do it like early.
Yeah.
Much
First
early-
thing we ask when the client calls is when's the wedding, and
That's
if they
right.
say this weekend, we're like, sorry, we're not for you.
Even
my
if they
goodness.
even if they say next month, we're not representing you.
Yeah, that's too.
Okay.
That's too
There's
close.
too much potential pressure. I really need to have the time to be able to talk to a client and feel them out, understand them. And there's a lot of financials that get disclosed.
Right.
A lot of them.
And you need to know about them.
Yes.
Your net worth statement goes on the back of the prenup.
Yeah.
So every asset you have, every liability to show what your net worth is, and then you guys have to exchange financial documents. So they used to make you sit there and initial every single page of every financial document
Aye.
that you shared. We don't do that anymore. We put a page on the back of it and it shows every single statement you gave. I mean, it is intrusive, but if what you're doing is to set
You're
something
getting married.
right?
If you're getting
then-
married and like maybe sharing children, like that
Right.
too is a little
right,
intrusive.
exactly.
You got to know you got to
Right,
know all your.
right.
So I
stuff.
don't think it's a dirty word, is basically my takeaway from it. It can be used as a dirty thing.
I'm sure.
So which version are you? To be determined when you call and we tell you, right?
But it also then it goes into like a similarity with estate planning, as I have a lot of clients that are like, well, we don't have anything.
Right. So I want to talk about that next because like you get married and then you, whether you're doing estate planning or like maybe you wait and you have kids and now you have like all these assets that you need to like,
Right.
you know, a will and all
Right.
that kind of junk. Like what are the documents that people should consider getting once they have kids and like how do those work?
Yeah. So when a client calls me, the first thing I always like to ask is, well, what's your goal here? Because my way of practicing and the way we've set up our firm is we're very family oriented. Like when you're with us, you're family. We're going to hold your hand. We're going to tell you the truth. And if your goal is to hide money or to do this or that, I'm not necessarily the right lawyer for you.
Right.
If your goal is, making sure that the assets are inherited the way you want them and that your children are taken care of if there's children, because everyone needs an estate plan, not just because you have children. That's, I want to help these people
Right.
make sure they're going to get what they want, and so that they have peace of mind and that their family has peace of mind for their financial future. Now, when it comes to the kids, whether you do your estate plan before or after, I always incorporate, depending on the age of the client. But after you have kids, it is major to have on paper who their guardian is, or who it's not really guardian as much as it's who's going to be taking care of them if you are no longer there,
Right.
if you no longer can, or if you and your spouse no longer can. And why is that important? Because if you are the only person that knows your children, you're the only person that knows how you want them raised, you're the only person that knows how they've been raised. And if you don't designate and have all of that done in writing, then it's the court who's going to do it for you. And what can happen then is there can be a fight. You can have grandparents, siblings, who knows, come out of the woodwork and say, we want custody. And it is now the court who has to determine what is in the best interests of the child.
And they don't know you.
And they don't know you. They don't know how you parent. They don't know what you want.
But it's scary. Like, I didn't even have that document filled out. Okay. When she came and we partnered up, that is when she was like, listen, we got to finish it and you need to have this paperwork. There's something that feels like icky.
Well, yeah,
right?
it's like the prenup thing that I said
Right.
before. Like, let's get married, but just in case we don't love each other anymore, let's sign this document, and then let's have kids, but also just in case we die,
Right.
Yep.
who's getting our kids? Like,
Right.
that's not like a fun
who's your
conversation to have, right?
Yeah.
like
And
your
who's your
backup?
backup?
right? You have to
Yeah.
have like it's a weird thing to discuss.
It is, but when you're discussing it with me, I make it fun and exciting.
That's so great.
Because there's so many intricacies of it. Because again, right, I'm your family law side of it. she also does family law now, but she's your guru on that estate planning side. And so even knowing like the person who handles the finances doesn't have to be the person who cares
Gets
for
the
the
kids,
kids.
right.
Like, there's so many intricacies to that piece that are just so overlooked, and everyone's like, yeah, we'll get it to another day.
Yeah, I give different, depending on, obviously every family's different. So every, consult I do, I tailor the estate plan towards their needs. And I tell, especially young families, that the person who you name to care for your children doesn't always have to be the person who is going to handle the finances.
Right, you can separate it.
Right, because maybe your Aunt Smith isn't great with money, but your Uncle Joe is, great with money and investments and stuff like that. And that's who, you want to be the one investing and for the money for the children. My favorite thing to do, though, is I love creating trusts. People don't really know what the difference is between a will or trust, or they don't know what a trust is at all.
Right. What is a trust?
What is a trust? So, and I'm specifically in this moment talking about a revocable trust. So what that is it is sort of, I call it similar to like a company. It's a piece of paper. It's a shell. It doesn't own anything unless you make it own something. So like you can go and open a company and create a name tomorrow on Sunbiz, which is the Florida website to create a company name. But that company's just a name until it owns something. So it's the same with the trust. But the great thing about the revocable trust is upon your passing, it becomes irrevocable. And whatever's in the trust is still in the trust. So it does not have to go through probate.
Okay.
And that is a massive savings for your family because
Time and
money. And so my clients will say, "Oh, I don't have anything. I don't need a trust. I just need a will." Everybody with kids needs a will because they need to designate who their children are going to be taken care of.
Right.
Right. But the probate aspect of putting your assets in a trust. If you come to me, "Oh, I don't have any assets. I only have kids. I only need my will." Okay, well, if you have $30,000 in the bank, God willing, you have money, $30,000 in the bank. If you do a probate, their minimum on that is going to be $1,500. But if you have $75,000 of assets, which in this world isn't that crazy,
Right.
It's going to be an automatic 3% of that 75,000. But that's what we're talking about is paid to us.
Right. That
right?
goes
like
to
your lawyers
yes,
are
sorry,
going to take
that was
money.
Not clear. The Florida law says anything over $75,000, the attorney that is representing the personal representative in the estate is entitled to 3% of the assets. So if you have $75,000, okay, maybe 3%. You're not too worried, but what if you have $1 million in assets?
Right, it's a lot more.
Now that's a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's really important for your family to have security in their financial future. And that's why I really love the trust document. And also you can do so much in the trust. I mean, you can create anything. If you've got, let's say you have a son and a daughter and you want to put $50,000 in a way specifically for the daughter's wedding.
Okay.
We can create in that trust, I call it a subtrust in there for those funds. So the first $50,000 goes and is held just for her wedding. And then if she's not married by 35, it gets released to, and I mean, you could just do anything with it. But the point of it is it your money and the inheritance and your family's financial future is going to somewhat be predetermined and going to be taken care of the way you want it to be so that you can protect your family.
I use a better analogy for it. I like to think of it as like you just got a purse.
Yeah.
Right? And the purse is literally empty. Okay? But you have the purse. And when you're ready, you're going to start to put your stuff into the purse.
Yeah.
That is how my brain thinks about a trust.
That's a good way of thinking of it.
So
I'm
like
gonna use
your
that.
house, right?
Yeah.
You have a house that's in your name. And I'm guessing financially it makes better sense at some point to put that house into the name of the trust. And I've just thrown that house inside my
Right.
purse. And at whatever point you pass, it's going to be protected from going through probate in the court. So like that is a huge piece that she can provide to people. The other one that I think is so important that you didn't mention yet was that the directives.
Oh,
that
yes.
like nobody wants to talk about them.
So I do a really nice package. I like to do, it's a flat fee package that comes with a bunch of documents. And one of them is the living will with the healthcare surrogate and the directives. And that will, in that document, you name the person who can make medical decisions on your behalf when you can't. And that's also a huge deal. Actually, I'm really trying to promote that for kids that are going to college.
Yeah.
It's a major, if you have kids that are, not just kids going to college, if you have kids that are over 18 and something happens to them and they're in the hospital, you can't access their records. You can't make medical decisions for them as their parent. You can't do anything. Once they're over 18, you have no say in their medical needs. So especially when your children are going off away to school or going abroad, it's so important that any kids that turn 18 get a living will, a healthcare directive that can nominate someone to make healthcare decisions for them.
Didn't we know someone who recently, their son was up in college and he was 18 and he was in the hospital and they could not release a single piece of information or talk to them because they had no directive. So this kid was in the hospital until they could go up finally.
Right.
They couldn't find out a single piece of information
wild.
or help with
Isn't
the
that
care.
crazy?
Okay. So no one thinks about this stuff. And so we actually went and spoke at the Bunny Hive. I don't know if it's this really cool place that you can either go with your kids that are, I want to say like 2, 3, 4 years old. And it's like a play center. You can apply and have a whole month package or 1 or 2 times. And we went to talk to some of the moms that were there. And one of them was saying, oh my God, my son, I have an older kid. I didn't even know I needed this.
Right.
So she ended up calling us like 2 days later and just having us write up that for her child so there would be no issue. So it's like those things that you don't even know exist that are out there. And like I have one now so that my husband has it and he can tell the hospital what to do or not. So there's just a lot of nuances. And the other thing that I would say is that when you think of estate planning, like so many people think it's so expensive that getting these packages are like so high. That was the reason that we added it, was so that we can help families that are in South Florida. That's not going to cost them the most money. It's not going to be $10,000 to do your estate planning, okay? You need these small things now. Maybe you'll need amendments in the future, but like, let's create your will with the simple stuff you need. Let's create your pocketbook of trust, and like we'll help you over time. And that will save you the most money and protect your family in the best way possible.
Yeah. And I feel like the word estate planning, like I don't have an estate.
Right.
Like,
That's
like we're in a little
understand
townhouse.
That word.
Like we, you know what I mean? Like people I'm sure come to with prenups, like they don't have all of this money. Estate planning, like I don't have anything, but like you have something, and your kids still exist. So like you got to send them to someone's house. God forbid something happens to you and your spouse.
Your 401k. Let's say you have a job and your company gives you a 401k. You have something. Maybe it only has $5,000 or $10,000.
But when they're older,
something, right? It'll keep growing. Or maybe, God forbid, you passed early and it's that little bit that's there. It's got to go somewhere,
right?
Okay, don't leave it so that attorneys make money.
Here's a good one.
You
have a 401k. There's $30,000 in it. You forget about it. You pass away, and the beneficiary, or it's single parent, or you and a spouse, and unfortunately you're both gone, and your child's still a minor. Well, in Florida, if they're inheriting, there's different nuances to the law, but right now it's like a $15,000 cap. And if a minor is being gifted or inherited $15,000 or more, a guardian account has to be set up. And you have to petition the court to do that, and it's like
we just did
more
that
fees,
recently.
Right? It's stuff you don't want to deal with.
We just did it recently for a sorority sister of ours whose dad unfortunately passed away, and he had left money for both the boys, her younger kids, which is a wonderful thing. Except they didn't put it into anything through a trust to get there.
A trust is really where that comes in handy.
Right? She had to open 2 cases in the court for guardianship for each kid to go through, and the time and the money just to pull over this money ends up taking away money.
Right, and you could have just like signed a single piece of paper.
A single piece of
like,
paper.
It saves all of that time and effort.
Correct.
Yeah, it's stuff that like people don't think about. It's not like the fun side of parenting.
No, it's not.
But maybe it's
so
like
important.
Right, it's like a quick conversation, maybe like an hour in your office. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's fast and it's
even
not
just a phone call.
Right.
And it's the things you don't
Beauty
know
of
in
Zoom.
life.
Seriously,
Oh my God, we love
the
Zoom.
technology. You call me, we chat, we figure it out. I send you documents, you fill them out, we get it done.
Right.
It's not as scary as it sounds.
But like, you know how like people think they know things?
Yeah.
Like people think they know about divorce law and they call you and they're like A, B, C, and I'm like, none of those things are actually
Right,
real.
right.
Like you think you understand estate planning, but unless you talk to an estate planning attorney, you don't understand any of it.
Yeah.
Like let someone clear it up because that makes your life so much easier.
Right. It's just like one less thing for you to worry
Right.
about. Let someone else like
Right.
handle your family stuff.
Exactly.
And we want to. We want to be your family.
We have to wrap things up soon,
Sure.
but what's the aftercare story?
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna leave on this note. My little girl is 5.5, okay? And she's a sassy little thing.
Okay.
So she's been going to aftercare for a while now. And right, kindergarten, she sees girls and boys with really cool toys.
Okay.
And slowly things started ending up in her backpack.
Oh, no.
Every single day.
Because you can't take toys out until aftercare.
Right? I didn't know this. I'm a new parent with a kid in aftercare, right?
Right.
And now comes out a necklace and it's got like a lip gloss on it. And now I got a perfume. The time that a stuffy that for sure was someone's favorite stuffy in the entire world came home, I realized we had an issue there.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. So I have had to work through, and we've worked through it. I'm proud to say we've worked through it. I had a thief that was taking toys from people at school. And I don't know that anyone noticed. Definitely no teacher noticed, right?
really
No
funny.
staff member noticed. So these are the things that like you're not prepared for
Right.
that you now have to navigate as a parent. And now she didn't go to aftercare for a few weeks. She's back in. She doesn't come home with anyone's toys.
That's good.
Okay, it's a big progress.
That's
I'm
really
proud
funny.
of her. Yeah.
Listen, you got to like teach them somehow.
Yep.
Right?
So I like to end each episode with a high and a low from the week.
Yep.
In our parenting world, I call it a sun and a storm because I'm our meteorologist, weather themed, hence the name. You know the drill. So I'm going to start with mine.
Yep.
You have to think of things while I'm going. So
We're ready.
I'll start with the sun for this week. Is my oldest is now like obsessed with matching his little brother. They're 1 and 4. So like he thinks it's really cute when they match or when we match them. Like
That's really
so matching pajamas are like our new thing now. And like I've always had them and I've forced them on them. But now he'll be
Now
like,
they're into it.
yeah, now he's like, oh, we have the same pajamas.
That is
I'm like, I
amazing.
know. So it's really sweet.
Yep.
That's sweet.
So that's
Once they get older, they
We used to
won't do
match
it.
Right.
all the time.
My sister hated when I matched her from like the day one. Like
Loved it.
she-
loved it.
It was like her worst
I mean,
nightmare.
we're matching today
I
on
love
purpose.
it. It's perfect. And I don't know if I have a storm. I guess it would be that like we're still dealing with like illness and like one is sick and then the other one is this and then the other one ran into a pole at school and then like there's always like something in terms of like illness or a boo-boo. So we're still kind of like working through that this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's like regular.
So
regular days.
I'm gonna say both of our sons
Both
sons
of
together,
our
and we can
sons.
we'll
I
each
call
do
them
our-
Pit and Peak. At
Yes,
home.
Pit and Peak, Rose and Thorn, whatever.
We call them high-low Kokomo, and our Kokomo is a funny one.
That's so fun.
Okay,
My kid
so-
loves that song.
Right? I know. That's I think why we did it. I don't even remember. But our son is. We just got off a cruise, literally 2 days ago.
With the
We
whole
went
family?
With the whole with both
our
families.
We finally took a vacation.
Yep.
That's great.
We checked out from work. We really tried to do no work. Sorry, clients. We're back. And our kids absolutely loved it.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah, they had the best time.
Absolutely loved it. So my storm for the day is before we started this podcast, you saw I got a phone call.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 kids now with the flu.
Oh.
I got 103 fever, 102 fever. And like that's just the pitfalls that come with it. And obviously it's a full day back at work today and I'm going to navigate it all.
I'm sorry.
Right? Yeah. But they got me. I'm coming home.
Yeah.
That's
My
great.
husband's holding on the fort. So thank you. Yeah.
My son is the same. That the cruise was just I really turned off for a week. It was
That's
nice.
awesome.
I mean,
That's the
I
best.
looked at my emails a few times, but
Right.
it was really nice, really nice. My storm or my pit. Gosh, that's a hard one.
And if you don't have one, it's okay.
That's what I tell my daughter.
I
You
think
don't
that
need one
I
today.
think that I'll say that my pit was just that while the vacation was wonderful and our kids had so much fun, it is really really stressful traveling with kids.
yeah.
5 kids.
Real stressful. There was 5 kids between
5
the 2 of
kids.
us and they've got very different personalities and so that part was
It's
stressful.
like
but,
corralling cows that didn't want to go in the same direction.
The sun was brighter than the storm.
That's look, when the storm ends, the sun always comes
Exactly.
back out and
Yeah.
rises the next
Yes.
day.
Rainbows and sunshine.
Yeah. Lindsay, Andrea, thank you guys so much for being here today.
you so
This
much.
was
Thank you for
very
having us.
This was very beneficial. Stuff
Yeah.
people don't like to talk about or
Yeah.
think about, but
I know.
it's important to
Yeah.
do.
And
We'll
it
put
was
all of
fun
your.
talking to you.
It was great talking
Yeah,
to you
this
guys.
was awesome.
We'll
Thank
put
you.
all of your guys' information in the bottom of our show notes so people can reach out and connect with you if they have questions
Thank
or
you. Yeah.
whatever. So thank you all for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week.